checking out Mike Epps' biography book, Unsuccessful Thug, One Comedian's Journey from Naptown to Tinseltown. Let's go ahead and play an excerpt from it, guys, and we'll come back with my reaction.
"17. Being Richard Pryor. The good news is that if you keep true to yourself and you can stay alive long enough, some amazing things can happen. Here's one. I'm going to be Richard Pryor in a biopic directed by Lee Daniels and produced by Oprah Winfrey. She's also playing Richard's grandmother. When I was named the actor to play Richard Pryor, I think some people were surprised. And I know a lot of people were super fucking mad. That's because every black actor in Hollywood was waging a full-scale capture the flag campaign for that part. I don't really have to audition anymore. But for the right role, I'll do it. And God knows this was the right role. So I auditioned for the Richard Pryor job. Hell, Lee Daniels made Oprah audition. I got to the building and came across Oprah in the waiting room reading the sides. Oprah Winfrey. I thought I had the role the first time I read for the part, but they kept bringing me in again and again. And right when I'm sure I have it, I show up to what I think is the final round, and I see Nick Cannon and Marlon Wayans going in the building. But I knew it was the part I was always meant to play. I've been compared to Richard Pryor as long as I can remember. Maybe it's just because we both were skinny black men who like cocaine and white women. But I like to think it's something more. I met Richard years ago when his wife Jennifer reached out and said she wanted me to visit the house. Pulling into the driveway, I got chills. Something came over me. You're at the master's house. You're here. I prayed before I went in there. I came in and saw him in that wheelchair. I didn't know whether to cry or be happy. I'm grateful I was able to spend time with him before he died. Once when we were sitting there, a maid walking through the room let out a huge fart. Her ass sounds like it's been tampered with, I said. Richard, mostly paralyzed by that point, opened his mouth wide and let out a kind of braying noise. Jennifer jumped up. He laughed, she shouted. I haven't heard that sound in years. That was probably the most meaningful laugh I ever got. And there was something absurd about it. Here he is, arguably the best comedian of all time. And what brings him back from the edge of death to laugh again? A fart joke. I think I understand Richard Pryor so well because we both dealt with self-hatred, and we both got saved by comedy. Comedy has saved my life again and again, and it still does every day. Also, we both had a hard time staying away from drugs. I've been struggling with cocaine since I was 14. It just was a habit that I had over the years that never really went away. I spent decades as what you might call a functioning drug addict. I've been able to keep it under control, but it's always discombobulated me. Wherever I was, I would get it. The whole time from Indianapolis to Atlanta, New York to California. I think what drove me to doing drugs, especially when I moved to New York, was trying to forget who I'd been before. And I always thought cocaine opened up a third eye for me, a genius eye that I didn't have, that I couldn't tap into otherwise. Now, though, I can look back and see how much cocaine took from me, how it fed my self-loathing and kept me trapped. It's only now that I'm really getting out from under its power. I tried to go to rehab once. In 2005, my wife Michelle told me I had to. She set it all up. I was supposed to check into this place in Santa Monica, get off coke for good, get right. I didn't want to go, but she said she needed it, and I didn't want to lose her. In the car on the way to Santa Monica, I'm thinking, I can do this. Maybe she's right. Maybe I need this. I pull up in front of the place, turn off the motor. My suitcases are in the back. I'm about to get out of the car and check in. But first, I sit in the driver's seat and look out the windshield. In front of the place, there are guys and ladies standing around, smoking and talking. They're wearing jeans and sneakers. They look tired. I sat there for a while watching them. It wasn't like they looked so fucked up. I just didn't feel like I was there yet. You out there, but you not out there, I said to myself. I took a minute to see if I changed my mind. I didn't. I started the car back up, looked at myself in the rearview mirror, and said, "You know what you're doing." And I rolled off. Michelle was mad as hell when I came home, because I didn't go and because it was something she thought I needed help with. But I went off it myself and stayed off it for a while, until I binged. Then I went off it myself again for 2 years, until I had a bad week. I always knew how to get it and how to hide it. But now, I haven't been high in about 2 years now. Again, I just stopped. I like to think I'm done, but I also know I have to be on my guard because my pattern has always been that I'll binge for 4 days and then I won't do it for 2 years. I don't know how it is I can put it down for that long, and I don't know why in the hell I relapse. The right atmosphere, the wrong people, something. I never could get ahead of all the bad choices that I made. And when you can't get ahead of the bad choices you make, you continue to make bad choices because you're in debt to your soul. Even though you try to understand the power of forgiveness, you still feel in debt. Like, I think back about Yolanda and her parents, the Sharps, and I wish I could pay them back for all the shit that I did. I was so mean and so bad and just fucked up, man. I hated myself then. So if you're reading this, Boo and Karen, I'm so sorry that I was that way. I'll never forgive myself for treating you and your daughter like that. I hope the things I've done since then have showed you that I'm not all bad. That's the thing no one tells you when you make it out of the streets. Make something of yourself. You don't get a clean slate. You still feel like you're in the hole. Some shit you did, you can't come back from. You hurt people so badly. That's what happened to me. I think that I felt so horrible and guilty about some of the decisions that I made. I was angry. I'm haunted by who I used to be. The crime, the people I hurt, all that kind of shit. I've told you a lot of the worst stuff here, but of course I'm taking a boatload of shit to my grave with me. There ain't a soul on earth who doesn't. Nobody knows everything about you, nor you about anyone else. You don't know what the fuck somebody did or what they've been through. You know what I mean? People say that's why I give away all my money, because I feel so guilty about how back in the day I was such a nasty motherfucker. Maybe that's true. Thank God for my friends and my family who stuck with me. You know, the first time I knew I might be funny was when I was a kid making my little brother laugh. Cheney was my first friend and my first real fan. I have a lot of brothers and sisters, but he was the one person who I wanted to impress, who always had my back. He made me think I was special and gave me confidence. I've been getting that support from him since I was a kid. It's hard to make your brother laugh just sitting around the house. This is someone who knows all your tricks, all your bullshit. But I'd get him to laugh, and when he did, it was like the sun coming out. I think back on kids Cheney and I grew up with who never got out, never figured out what they had to give the world. Even if they did find their talent, a lot of them couldn't figure out how to sell themselves to the world, to get out from under the curse of being born black and poor. And it's hard to have a great product with no advertisement. Some of the most famous people in the world aren't even talented. They're just great promoters. I thank God every day that I was able to find out what I was good at and to figure out how to sell it to other people enough to make a life for myself. Every day I think about how it could have gone instead. I had a friend back in the day, Calvin Richardson. We called him Cow Cow. He was actually funnier than me, shit. He could stand on a corner for hours telling stories, and everyone would be doubled over laughing so hard. My whole neighborhood used to brag on him. People would say to me, "Motherfucker, you ain't the real deal. Cal's the real motherfucker." But he stayed in the hood. Once I got famous, I went back to Indianapolis to do a show at a giant fucking theater. It seats like 2,000 people. And I thought, I'm going to give my old friend his big break. So I put Cal's ass on my show. Cal got up there and started telling his jokes. I'm sorry to say that from the start I didn't think it was going right. Hood funny is different from being in entertainment. Your mama jokes may kill with your brothers, but unless it has more to it, that shit doesn't always work on stage. You have to win people over, lead them to the punchline. It takes a lot of practice and experience. I've had thousands of hours of stage time, and I'm still learning all the time. I bet Cal could have been great with more experience. But that night, he bombed.
Not know that Mike Epps had a pain addiction. I mean, wow, that's crazy. Now you kind of look at him, not knowing, hearing about that, knowing he had that. If you kind of look at him now, you can kind of see, what I'm saying, a little bit of, you know, cokish type of, gestures that he, what I'm saying, like how Mike Epps moves and stuff. I can see that. But wow, that's crazy. And he's still dealing with all these, needless to say, this already came out that he didn't get the role for uh, Richard Pryor. Um, they end up dropping him from the role, and they still are going to make the movies, but the movie is put on hold. Well, of course, it's on hold now because of the writer's strike, but it's been on hold for a while. I don't know if they ever going to get that Richard Pryor movie done. Definitely would like to see it in my lifetime, though. Anyway, what y'all think about Mike Epps' book, Unsuccessful Thug? Y'all can check it out on Audible. Leave your comments and subscribe to Charles and Nez World. Appreciate it.